In this video, I'm going to talk about astrology and how it can help you accelerate your personal and spiritual growth and also help you create the life that you desire. So when you talk with people about astrology, there you have like different types of people. So some people are very skeptic, some people are a little bit more neutral, other people are complete fanatics. So what is the truth about astrology, and why do I believe personally that this is a system that works for accelerating your personal and spiritual growth, and that it is actually a system that works? Because when you look at astrology, it is a lens that you can have on reality, that you can put on, through which you can look at reality and your own personality, your own energetic frequency that you have. And from that place, you can gain deeper self-knowledge. You can also learn what your weaknesses are and your strengths, and also just understand your energy better, because we are all basically, how can you say, we are all consciousness. But also we are consciousness that has been divided into certain configurations. So if you look at certain configurations of consciousness, you could, for example, already make distinctions between, on the one hand, you have masculine and feminine. So this is the one being divided into the two. So masculine and feminine. But then you can divide it even further. So feminine can be divided in earth and water. So these are feminine energies, feminine elements. And then the masculine can be divided in air and fire. So if you understand this, you can then look at reality from this perspective, like, oh, these are things that are more fire, like, for example, passion, visualization is a fire kind of quality, and taking action is a fire quality. Earth is, for example, I don't know, if you are at a beach on a summer day or maybe in a forest or something like that, you know, that's the earth quality. And then water's emotions, and air are your thoughts. So it's like a mind quality. So if we then look at astrology, these are only further divisions of these four elements. So the zodiac signs, they are further divisions of these four elements. So for example, Gemini and let's just say Gemini. Gemini is like an air sign, and Sagittarius is a fire sign. Virgo is earth. So if you look at all the 12 zodiac signs, they are further divisions of these four elements. So why this is very useful is because when you are more aware of these different energies, you can start to resonate with them more, or how can I say, you can learn more about them. And then, for example, when you look at your own birth chart, you look up your date of birth, and also when you know the time, and you create your own birth chart. And I'll try my best to maybe show one here so you know how it looks if you've never seen one before. So you can see it here. Otherwise, I'll post a link somewhere down below where you can see one. So if you look at your own birth chart, I think it's very interesting, because then you can basically study yourself. You can study your own consciousness. This is you as consciousness looking at this other kind of like manifestation, this map of you, of your soul, of the energetic frequency that you embody in this moment. And that doesn't mean that you are only stuck in this energy. These are just the energies that come very natural to you. Because in the end, we want to develop all the energies of the different zodiac signs, to become more aware of them, to know that Gemini is, for example, really thought and data, and that you can have like this curiosity, or that Sagittarius is looking for the truth all the time. Or for example, I'm a Virgo sun, so this is a lot about structure and process. So the lens that I have from my sun sign is really looking at reality in structure. But then you have a further division in astrology, because it's not only about your sun sign. This is like the the child version of astrology, if you only look at your sun sign. because it's also your ascendant sign. It's also the moon sign, and where is your Mars, where's Jupiter, where's Mercury, all these different planets, these 7 traditional planets, and also some other planets like Neptune and Pluto. And then you can really understand, while you're looking at this birth chart, you can study yourself. And yeah, you can be skeptic about it, but then often when I would ask the question, like, oh, okay, so you're skeptic about it, so what do you actually know about it? And then, yeah, most people say, like, they don't really know anything about it. So how can you say that something is not real or doesn't work or is, how can I say, not scientific or fake or anything like that if you actually don't know anything about it? I mean, that's like just a quality of people that are not really open-minded. Maybe they say they are open-minded and they maybe actually feel that they are an open-minded person, but I can assure you, when I talk with a person like that, I immediately know that there is some limit to their model of reality that they are willing to question or not. Maybe they grew up in a scientific family or something like that, and they really believe in the science, and this is like how reality works because everything is a material world or something like that. And they have not studied the more energetic, spiritual aspects of consciousness and this reality, which are just as real and even more real than science. Because spirituality and, these energetic, how can I say, well, these energies, that's actually the thing that creates science. So without those, science would actually not exist because everything is spirituality. And these energies were also the things that the ancient alchemists were studying. What is the energy of Jupiter? What is the energy of, certain gods that embody Jupiter, like Zeus or other gods? The sun. If you look at the sun, what is the sun? The Son of God. So this is the Christ consciousness. And yeah, if you look at these mythologies, you can also understand these energies better. But yeah, just to say that, yeah, it's not like a real system or it doesn't work or something, then often people just don't know enough about it. And they might not even understand themselves that well, even though they may think they do. Because I can assure you, if you study it with an open mind, when you look at, okay, what does actually my sun sign mean? What is my moon? What is my ascendant? And the other energies, that there will be certain things that really click. There will be certain things that you think, wow, that's, yeah, really interesting. I can see these energies playing out in myself. And especially if you maybe have like a good friend or somebody that you know that's maybe also open-minded enough, and you know each other quite well, and you know each other's energy. And then you look into this, and then you're like, wow, okay, but this really describes you, and this really describes me. I've had this experience with Julian, who is also part of Amstermind. And if we change the name, then it's another name, by the way. But yeah, he's also on this channel. And yeah, I really see, because he's a Sagittarius. He has 4 planets in Sagittarius, and he's always looking for the truth and always trying to find new things. And yeah, I also look for truth and discover new things, but he does it like on a totally different level. And then I am a Virgo, so I'm a quite structured person. Like, this is my natural energy. And then, yeah, it's more like this plan and sticking to the plan and, yeah, taking action towards that, and certain perfectionism. And yeah, there's many nuances also to that, because yeah, I'm also developing out of that, because yeah, there are certain things in my birth chart that also indicate that I'm also moving away only from this Virgo energy. And that's also good, because yeah, this is the energy that I already know, that I'm very accustomed with. And now I'm, for example, you could say, discovering more the Pisces energy, which is the opposite of Virgo, because when you know these distinctions, then you can make distinctions in energy. So you also know which direction you want to grow or which direction you can go. Because without distinctions and not knowing, oh, I am in this polarity, there's even another polarity, a different kind of energy that I can learn more to embody. Um, when you know that, you can actually do it, or you can do it more effectively because you have the right distinctions. Distinctions are very powerful. So the Virgo energy is very much structure, and it's like going from here to there. It's an earth quality. And then Pisces is more, how can you say, water. Yeah, well, it is a water sign, so it is very much not structure. It's more like, hey, what we are doing right now, this is the entire goal. And it also very eclectic, because Pisces is like the two fishes, and it's an eclectic sign. It takes from here and different places, and then puts them together in a unique way. And then also, just by knowing this, I can intuit that energy more, and then also strive to become more like that. And there's also other energies. I'm an ascendant Leo, so this is an ascendant, if you want to know, is basically kind of the persona that you wear in the outside world. So the sun is your core personality, the ascendant is more like what you project to the outside world, and then your moon is more your subconscious mind and your emotional body. So mine is Leo, and when I look out, it is basically my ascendant is Leo. It's basically like very social, and this fire energy, quick to take action, which is also an aspect of my Mars in Aries. Like when Mars is in Aries, Aries is also a fire sign, and is very well known for starting things, because it's like a very how can I say, action-oriented sign. It's like new beginnings, and I believe it's also the first sign of the zodiac, and that's why it ignites like action, and it's a new start. And anybody that you asked me, even before I knew all about these things, Thomas is quite quick to take action, and that's just funny. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I understand it now. I can see that, and then I can also work with it, because it's also in opposition to my Mercury, and an opposition is basically when the two energies are kind of how can I say, colliding in a sense. So it's very important to harmonize these energies. And Mercury is like the thinking. So sometimes I've had moments where I don't really think too much about the action, and like look at, okay, what am I actually going to do? These are my options. Okay, it's usually in the past, okay, I'll just take this action and see how it goes. And then sometimes it's much better to first think a lot. And sometimes it's much better just to take some action and then see what the feedback is. So it's not either or. But what I'm trying to get at is that these are all different archetypes and different energies that make up your own consciousness, that you can learn from, that you are already embodying in consciousness right now. Because this is what consciousness or God is actually doing at this moment. It is dividing itself and making unique combinations to experience something that is unique. And I have a unique birth chart, and you have a unique birth chart. Everybody has their unique signature, because you are a point of consciousness in, well, basically infinite awareness that is now being experienced as you. And this is a unique combination. I find it funny. I was just thinking about that. If you look at NFTs, if you have like an NFT collection, there's like certain NFTs, and they have like these types of characteristics. Maybe there's one with an eye patch, or one with a laser, or one with like a certain necklace, or a certain type of face, or an angelic one, or a demonic one, or you can go on and on. And these are unique attributes. And you could also say that with astrology and studying this, that's also the case. You have like unique attributes, and this also says like, hey, these are your strengths and these are your weaknesses. So, and let me just take it one step back to go a little bit deeper, because I don't only want to talk about astrology and what it is, because there's plenty of videos about that. I want to talk about the deeper stuff. So you have a polarity between objective and subjective. So on the one hand, you have things that are objective. Let's say the sun comes up and you can see it. The sky is blue, and you know, well, I'm a man, and if I see a girl, she is a woman. It's in a sense objective. But then you have subjective. So subjective is, yeah, something that, yeah, you experience in the moment. And another good example of objective, by the way, is of course like a scientific experiment where you rule out certain things in maybe a double-blind placebo, you know, experiment. And yeah, you could say that's objective. And then on the other hand, you could go to systems that are more subjective, but they're also objective, like astrology. Yes, it is not exact science because the observer, the person observing the birth chart, also determines the interpretation of the birth chart. Because how you interpret Jupiter also has a lot of influence on, yeah, what it actually does in your chart. It's not only, oh, okay, this is just the energy how it is, because, okay, do you actually understand the energy? Okay, where is it placed? What kind of relationship do you have towards this energy? For example, Jupiter is the planet of growth and abundance and money and business. So are you maybe somebody that hates money? So yeah, maybe your relationship with Jupiter is not so good. Or with Venus. Venus is, you know, the planet of love, of course, you know, and also the goddess of love. And yeah, it's really, yeah, what is your relationship with this planet? Did you have good role models growing up for love? Or maybe not? You know, do you know what Venus is and what she represents? Like the arts, more like the creative element of reality. You know, you would have like Mercury. Mercury is more like the logical and structured aspect of reality. You could say that Mercury is like science and communication. What I'm doing now is quite an mercurial act. It's also, in a sense, also Venusian because it's like creative in the moment. It's also an art form, making videos like this. And yeah, so what are your relationship with these planets? This also determines how this energy manifests. And also looking at your own birth chart, what is the story that you are telling yourself about your birth chart? And then, of course, there's also more, how can I say, certain objective energies at play. But then still, these also get filtered through your own neurology, your own consciousness, your own, yeah, subconscious mind, you could say. And then are, how can I say, they come into your life, these energies. And this is the funny thing that, yeah, it's like an objective system, but it's also subjective. And that's why if you study it, you have to realize that things that are objective, they're not the only way of finding truth, because subjective experience can also be very true and even more true than an objective experience that you could also say like, hey, okay, you also, I don't know, do this thing and then you have the same result like in a scientific experiment, right? I'm just gonna drink some water. Mm. Yeah, let's say somebody who meditates a lot or somebody who does a certain ritual for themselves and they reach like a certain higher state of being, or maybe a psychedelic experience where they reach a certain high state of being where they disconnect from their ego or really feel a deep sense of love and connectedness to themselves and the universe, or yeah, like a really tangible feeling of feeling good enough. I remember that I had this one time when me and a friend of mine. Oh, just one second. Yeah. Okay. Me and a friend of mine, what we did was these ayahuasca chocolates called Choco Bliss. Very nice. I think it was a combination of psilocybin and the ayahuasca vine. And long story short, at the end, I really felt this like deep sense of feeling good enough, and this was much deeper than I have ever felt it. And I was like, this is how it actually feels to feel good enough. But you could say that is like a subjective experience. But it's very true. It's like a felt truth. And yeah, this is also very different than a thing that you kind of like think about. That's like mental. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You love yourself. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but do you really feel it? Do you really feel the truth of that? Or do you really feel, for example, that the universe is good and that everything is always trying to help you? Because that is actually, in a sense, you could say the truth, because everything in reality is good. This is the more fundamental truth, because everything is love. And if you look at all sides of a situation, there's always good and bad, but fundamentally, the bad also leads to the good, because the good, in a sense, is also more fundamental, yeah, in reality, because everything is love. So that's why I'm saying that a subjective experience, let's say a monk meditates for many years and then reaches a high state of enlightenment or something like that. That's a subjective experience. He cannot say to you like, hey, you also do this and then you also have the same thing. So in a sense, with astrology, it's the same thing. The nuance there, and this is very important to understand, is that these archetypes are what create reality. They create our reality that we experience right now in this moment. And basically everything is based on the things that you see in astrology. And these have been taught in, mystery schools and occult teachings. They all talk about the 7 traditional planets, Mars, Jupiter, Venus. I'm forgetting the planets. Mars, Jupiter, Venus, the Sun, the Moon, and if I miss one, you can maybe find them here below. I'll post them here. Anyway, like these are the planets. And yeah, like they all talk about these energies. Even the days of the week are based on this. And we're just embedded in these energies. And then if you look at the astrology forecast for, let's say, today or tomorrow or like the weekend, you can see how the planets are currently doing certain things, and this has an influence on our collective consciousness, how we experience certain things. And then of course you can take it to the next level, because in the end we also create our own reality. So how are these planetary energies being filtered through your own consciousness so that you then can create your own reality in the reality that you desire? However, it also just flows in a certain direction, because when you look at astrology, like things just happen. These are just the dances of these energies, because it's as above, so below, as within, so without. And it's also those 4, so it's not only the planets dictating what is happening here. It's also the other way around. Like what is happening here is being reflected in these planets for some reason. And there's many different theories about that. But the thing is that you can just go into it yourself. It's just like a way of experiencing reality, just a different polarity that can be very useful to learn, hey, what is going on in the world right now? How are certain energies influencing what is happening? What is the right time to do certain things? And just feel the energetic frequency of this moment, and then surf it more instead of trying to control it and trying to go against like the current, because it's much easier and much more pleasurable to go with the current, and then steer a certain direction, take the current in a certain direction, because in the end we are consciousness, so we also create our own reality, and through doing that also create reality for others. Maybe some people create reality on a higher level, but we all create reality by default, and together we have like this collective reality that we experience, but nobody experiences it in the exact same way. So subjective systems are valid. That's what I was going to say. And by studying these archetypes, you can learn about reality and you can learn about yourself. And it's this as above, so below, as within, so without. And an interesting and funny perspective that I also want to give to you, that it's just an interesting way also of looking at astrology, because okay, the main idea is, oh, there were certain planetary influences that have imprinted you when you were born at a certain time, and that's why you have kind of like this energy, and then yeah, you go through life basically with this energy, and then certain things happen. But the other model, in a sense, you could say the other side, or the other side of the coin, or the other polarity, another way of looking at it is, if you have never looked at your birth chart, then, well, congratulations. Now you're aware of it. You can now look at your birth chart and see, like, oh, okay, well, these are how the planets were when I was born. Well, maybe you didn't even know that, right? So you could also say that because you were born at a certain moment and your life was a certain way, yeah, things happened, certain things happened. You developed also your ascendant and your sun and all these things. And now you're looking at it, and it's basically like, because your life happened in a certain way, your birth chart is now in this specific way, while you are looking at it as a point of consciousness in awareness, yeah, at your birth chart. And then you can look back, oh, okay, like, okay, how did this came to be? Like, why am I this way? And that's also because maybe your parents have certain birth charts, and they had like certain energies, and they imprinted on you. They had certain experiences, and then yeah, you can just flip it around. Also, I think that's a interesting way of looking at astrology. Also, just seeing like, oh, okay, like you for some reason are now becoming more aware of these archetypical energies, and now can become more conscious of, who am I right now at this moment. And then you can also take that in your life. It's not that your birth chart changes from that model. I mean, there's still a lot of, how can I say, transits going on. So the planets are moving constantly, of course, and they're making certain angles to your birth chart planets, and that creates certain energies. And you could say that a birth chart is an infinite fractal. So a fractal is, if you've never seen one, it's kind of like a certain image, and then when they zoom in, it's basically like you can zoom in forever, and it's the same image. So this is like how infinity also works. This is what infinity is. It's like this fractal pattern, and fractal patterns are seen throughout nature and in a lot of different things. Also, galaxies and stuff. So this idea of the birth chart as a fractal, because it's infinite, you can basically study it infinitely. There's so many different nuances and different ways of looking at your birth chart. Yeah, it's like, oh, these energies are in opposition, but then you have also the houses. I've not talked about that yet. These also consist in your birth chart. Won't go too deep into that, but yeah, it's basically like an infinite fractal. You can look at it and then, oh, okay, like, how do I look at that? What does this mean for me? And by doing this, by the act of contemplating this, what you're actually doing is you are becoming more familiar with these archetypical energies, and also how you are at this moment as consciousness, in your form, expressing this at this moment. And getting to know these archetypical energies better is very, very beneficial for accelerating your personal spiritual growth. This is basically what creates personal spiritual growth. Not the only thing, I would say, of course. But our reality is made up of archetypes. It's also, when you look at, for example, the tarot cards. This is also why tarot as a system works, because it's based on these archetypical energies. And then when you as consciousness draw a certain card, then you can see like, oh, okay, well, this is an energy that is at this moment now present. And of course, it's still your own interpretation, but that does not make it less real or less valid, because it's very, very useful. It's very useful to divinate what's going on the inside, and also become more aware of certain energies and maybe certain challenges that you have. So yeah, I would just recommend looking at it. And I'm just going to look at my notes for a second. One moment. Uh, yeah, just look at your own. How can I say? Be open-minded to look at this system and really study it and understand it before coming to the conclusion of, oh, okay, well, this is all bullshit, it doesn't work, or maybe, yeah, it doesn't work for me, maybe these other people, or, yeah, it works to a certain extent. Because I can say, like, I've been doing personal and spiritual growth since I was 18. And when I discovered this, it was really profound. And then at some point, well, kind of faded in the background again. But the last couple of years, it was like, oh, okay, well, this is like really something beneficial. So I, as another human or other part of consciousness, are just saying, well, I get a lot of value out of this. And it's really helping me develop new energies and become conscious of certain challenges and really understand my own mind and my own energy and other people much better. And then, well, I'm saying this, so how can I say? That's for you then a reference of, okay, well, maybe there could be something to it. What if there is a lot to it and you could also gain a lot from it? You know, understand why you have certain challenges and then also how to overcome them. And also look at the current astrological weather and see like, oh, okay, well, that's why I'm having certain challenges. And well, there's like a lunar eclipse now, for example, in Scorpio. If you know a bit about astrology and you, or you're getting into it, we had like a couple lunar eclipses in Scorpio. These are quite intense moments where there's a lot of energy and darkness that comes up. But then you just know. Then you just know, oh, okay, that's what's happening. And then you can be more aware of that and calculate better and maneuver better in that energy. And then when the energy shifts to, how can I say, an easier energy, you can learn to ride that. For example, now Jupiter is in Taurus right now, and it's in my 10th house of public image and career and all these things. And I can really feel like things in the business and certain creative pursuits are taking on a whole different life for me. And I'm really accelerating a lot. And it's really like, yeah, ever since that shift happened. And then another, yeah, just a couple interesting examples. For example, if you look at the pandemic, you know, the pandemic for the illness we all know about, when Saturn went into Aquarius, I think it was in 2021. I think that was the year that COVID started, right? That they did like the lockdowns. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it was another year. But that was the moment when Saturn, the planet of restriction, the planet of, how can I say, discipline and boundaries. You know, Jupiter is kind of like growth and expansion. Saturn, which is an energy that restricts consciousness, it makes sure that, you know, you could say there's limitless consciousness. And then Saturn, the energy of Saturn, limits consciousness so we can experience certain things. Because without limits, yeah, there would be nothing to experience because there would only be limitlessness. So when Saturn went into Aquarius, Aquarius is the sign of society and the people and humanitarianism and the group. So the planet of restriction went into the planet of the zodiac sign of society. What happened? Well, there were like lockdowns. There were lockdowns. There were massive restrictions placed on freedom of people. And that's, by the way, not good or bad. And that's the thing. If you study astrology, or I could also say broader, like spirituality, then you come to understand that things that happen, they're either they're not good or bad in like the how can I say, like polarized sense. So they're only bad or only good. Like they always have like benefits and drawbacks. And then when you look at these two energies, good and bad, or benefits and drawbacks, then when you see both sides, then you can neutralize that and then become depolarized. This is what non-duality is. And then from that place, well, everything is good, because that's the essence of reality. This is like the love. This is like the connection between everything. And that is in its core good. And you have different levels in that. Like at some point, you could say it just becomes so non-dual that there's nothing, But before that, there's like love and connection and Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is, for example, the Son of God. So the sun is also, in astrology, our vitality, our who we are, how we shine in the world. Who we really are on a deep personal level. And this is really interesting if you then think of the sun as also this Christ consciousness. It creates harmony, it creates beauty. This is when you study the archetype of the sun more and understand its energy. This is also the resurrection myth of Jesus. And whether you believe that was a real thing that happened or not, that's up for debate, and that's up for you to determine that for yourself. Where do you want to go with that? But what I can say is that you have had this myth, this this story, this mythology, this energy has played out in a lot of different religions. Odin sacrificed himself on a certain tree. I think it's what's the name again? Yggdrasil, something like that. And then, Jesus, of course, but also Osiris in Egypt. It was also a solar deity that also went through a resurrection and a rebirth. So what astrology then is, and just to tie it back to astrology, is then just a system, a map, where you can actually learn about all these different archetypes, and that will enhance your quality of experience in this reality. And then if you learn more these archetypes, you can also embody them better and then manifest a better life for yourself. And that's, in a sense, the essence. And one thing that I also wanted to say is that one thing that's quite big also now in astrology is that Pluto went into Aquarius. I think it went back into Capricorn now for a couple months. I'm not sure if it's already back, but then it will go back into Aquarius. And if you look at what Pluto in Aquarius is, like, Pluto is like, the planet of the underworld, the planet of darkness and things that happen behind the scenes. And also in certain astrology systems, it's kind of like the soul, or it's kind of like just an interesting energy that brings also rebirth, and does that sometimes through destruction, or maybe it does that through destruction. You can study this archetype yourself and then see what you find. But it went into Aquarius, so this is again this sign of society. And what has happened in the past is that, for example, French Revolution happened when Pluto was in Aquarius, and also the Industrial Revolution was at that time. So what are we seeing now? We're seeing now the AI revolution. Like, AI suddenly took off, like boom, in your face, like it's everywhere suddenly. And also, of course, the things with the illness that we all know about. Like the narratives, they are crumbling. So now it's like, what is their next step going to be? But the funny thing is that these things are, in a sense, also reflected in the planets. And that's a beautiful thing, because then you can understand these energies better, and then also see, like, okay, what benefit are they trying to bring? Because in the end, you could say that these planets are creating certain energy so that we can learn from it, and that we can grow as consciousness, as humans on this planet at the moment, and then elevate our consciousness to a high level. And that's basically what I wanted to share about astrology. And I would just highly encourage anybody who is into personal growth or spirituality to check it out. And just look at it, learn a bit about it. And hey, if it's not your thing, then it's not. That's no problem. But I can assure you if you take the time and you study your own chart and look at the different energies, that this will be a major benefit to your life, and that it can really help you. So yeah, that was basically it. So just to summarize, you can explore your own consciousness through this lens that is called astrology, understand these archetypes better, and really learn something from this, in a sense, subjective system. But it's also very objective, because the planets just have a certain position and that just creates a certain energy. But then, okay, how are you going to interpret that energy? That's up to you. It's like a subjective system. And then, you can learn about yourself, learn about others, increase your personal and spiritual growth, and then create the life that you desire. So that's all for this video. And if you like the video, give it a like. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. And there's probably also a link down below where there is an opt-in for a newsletter. So if you want to get more high-value content from me and also my friend Julian, we also have that newsletter. And maybe there's also some kind of free giveaway down below that you can check out. So that's all for this video, and have a great day.